Amy Catcher.
And I'm John Mercer. We're glad you could be with us tonight. Well, some of the biggest music festivals in the world embrace designated smoking areas, and Riverbend is among them.
Yeah, there will be more than a half a dozen areas for smokers, leaving the rest of the festival completely smoke-free. WDEF News 12's James Monahan joins us live in the studio with more in tonight's top local story. James.
After reviewing the effects smoking can have on festival attendees, Friends of the Festival this year have made it top of their agenda. The designated areas aim to protect children and older festival goers, as well as those with respiratory problems. Chip Baker, Executive Director of Friends of the Festival, is looking forward to a smokeless Riverbend.
So we took it another step this year and we created designated smoking areas, which we've created 7 around the site. So that the rest of the festival will be smoke-free.
With nearly 3,000 people dying annually from second-hand smoke in the U.S., medical officials here in Chattanooga are welcoming the decision.
But it's mainly asthmatics, anyone that has any kind of restrictive or obstructive pulmonary disease, but it's actually more people than you would think.
Kevin Lusk of Tobacco Free Chattanooga expects this to be the beginning of a new era for non-smoking in the scenic city.
This as a trend, you know, Nightfall went smoke-free, totally smoke-free last year, and now that Riverbend's having designated smoking areas, we think this is the next step that you may see a lot more public venues and outdoor areas will have designated smoking areas, if not becoming entirely smoke-free.
Chip added that this move demonstrates that the gig city is not afraid to set the standard for pioneering change.
Way ahead of other festivals in our country that have created these designated smoking areas.
The family-friendly and now smokeless festival kicks off in just under 2 weeks. A number of California, including San Francisco, will also be bringing in stricter measures to regulate smoking at outdoor festivals in the coming months. Live in studio, James Mahan, WDEF News 12.
All right, thank you, James. Well, we have new information tonight on the man accused of fatally beating his pregnant wife near Saudi Daisy. Now, according to the Associated Press, Terry Relaford also raped a 15-year-old girl the same day. Relaford was found this week in a Calhoun Motel. He shot himself as police tried to talk him out of it. We're told Relaford served 15 years in prison for sexual attacks on 2 Bradley County women when he was just 18 years old. Chattanooga police investigated a robbery at the Mapco gas station on Highway 153 and Gadd Road. Police say a suspect walked in with a knife and demanded cash. He has short, dirty blonde hair, a goatee, and was last seen wearing a black t-shirt and blue jeans. If you have any information on this May 12th robbery, call Chattanooga Police.
The state of Georgia is setting up a committee to study the Fort Oglethorpe City Charter, and now city leaders have appointed their own 7-member study committee. Both sides in that lingering dispute accuse the other of playing politics. A reconstructed city council fired 2 longtime city employees in March and got a resignation from the city manager. Well, that started a confusing set of circumstances that has left many local residents wondering what's next. Civic activist Chris McKeever was nominated by Councilman Earl Gray for the Charter Committee, but was rejected by the council.
And given that Mr. Gray is the odd man out at this point, both of his nominations were not accepted, so I was not selected to serve.
Explained a lot.
Reporter Bill Mitchell is preparing a complete report on the controversy. You can see it right here tomorrow on WDEF News 12. Catoosa County moves ahead with plans to develop 50 acres of land on Alabama Highway. It'll be the site of a satellite campus for Georgia Northwestern Technical Community College. Part of that property will become a mixed-use commercial development. The county plans to spend about $800,000 for infrastructure improvements. The county, the city of Ringgold, and the local utility district will provide sewer and water service to that site.
Dade County has $1 million project on its hands. We're talking about road work. Sunday storms caused major issues, and as we found out today, even more are popping up. WDEF News' Lisa Searle takes us there and shows us how they're paying for all that work in Dade County.
It happened within, 20-30 minutes. We had 6-8 inches of water on the ground.
But what Dade County residents didn't know at the time is that this is what was lying underneath.
We're working on Bob.
Dade County's to-do list is now 14 roads deep, and half of those require major work.
Just today, we found one more.
That's right, more roads are being added to that $1 million list. Alex Case, Director of Emergency Services, says regular summer work like paving and mowing will now be put on the back burner.
We don't want a driver to have a wreck because of a damaged road.
Now, Case admits state funding won't come easy.
We're hoping. That's why I keep turning in daily assessments.
Worst case scenario, he says, the money for the repairs will come from their budget or SPLOST fund. But if that happens, the work will take longer to complete.
We got to do it right with what we've got in our budget.
Even though gravel and orange barriers are now fixtures in the community, residents are taking it all in stride. They tell us the last time they've seen anything remotely similar to this was 2004. In Trenton, Alicia Searle, WDEF News 12.
And officials do say more roads were washed out because of ththose storms in 2004. The Director of Emergency Services couldn't tell us when these current projects will wrap up, but they'll be working on them all summer long.
People in one Marion County town find a way to help the tornado victims in Oklahoma. Residents in Whitwell filled 2 trucks and trailers with bottled water, clothing, personal supplies, stuffed animals, and paper products. Pretty much everything the tornado victims may need. Now the trucks will head west early tomorrow morning. Volkswagen announced it will help support the tornado relief efforts in Oklahoma as well. They're donating $250,000 to the American Red Cross and Habitat for Humanity. The donation will help cover the cost of shelter, food, and recovery efforts. And a $250,000 Passat just rolled off the assembly line. Volkswagen Chattanooga announced the milestone car has leather interior and a diesel engine. Volkswagen CEO Frank Fisher said he's proud of his team since they just learned how to make a car 2 years ago, and now they're celebrating 250,000 cars made right here in Chattanooga.
Well, the 1,400 voting members of Scouting America are meeting in Grapevine, Texas right now. They're addressing the 21-year ban on homosexuals in Scouting. Protests have occurred across the U.S. and also campaigns have been waged online. Alternative Scout group Spiral Scouts, who are establishing themselves here in Tennessee, have their own views on the issue.
Somebody's sexual persuasion does not determine if they are a good Scout or a bad Scout. It's an individual determines that on their own individuality.
The Scout Congress results should be out within a matter of minutes. We'll keep you updated on this developing story.